Thank you, Byron. Well, if it's Wednesday, it is time for your money. And if you have a young person in your life, I have to tell you, it's time for the talk. The talk about none other than dollars and cents. Chances are you have a young person going off to school, going off to college, and joining us right now to help us understand budgets and how to set those young people in the right track when it comes to their money is friend of the show and financial literacy expert Tom Henske. It's so great to see you on this Wednesday, so I want to get right to it. You say set the budget together. Why is that so important, and how do we do it?
Budgeting is the most important thing to start talking about as it pertains to money with your kids who are going to college. It's really just a spin-off of the wants versus needs conversation. Start off by creating categories of spending. Where are they going to be spending money and what for? And then it's really important to compare and contrast over the school year, especially early on in the school year, just to keep track of things.
And I just want to preface this by saying, even if college looks different in the fall, right, because some students may be doing online classes, it's still important to set a budget because things will return to some form of children, fly away from the nest, we're going to give you some money, you're going to earn your money, and it's important to know what to do with that money. You also say to set boundaries, which I think goes back to need versus want. But Daddy, I want that hoodie sweatshirt. But do you really need it? So tell us how we have that conversation and what we do about that.
Yeah, setting boundaries is the recurring conversation that we as parents have with our kids. First of all, write things down. It's really important that your child understands what you'll pay for versus what they're going to pay for. Here is the risk of not committing it to writing and having a very detailed conversation. The inconsistencies that will eventually come up are settled during an emotional time over the phone hundreds of miles away. So it's so important to set those boundaries early on. Think about it. Some parents want to pay for tuition, room, board, but they'll say, no, you're going to cover the books or the expenses for going out or any Greek life that you're going to be in. Some parents want to pay for everything. I would say I would be highly aware of maybe not spending money on everything and covering the full freight. Think about it. It really teaches them better lessons to let them have a little bit of ownership.
Absolutely. I will go on the record by saying I cannot pay for everything. So Liam and Gavin, you better get a paper route. Tom, are there apps that where we as parents can track what they're spending?
Yeah, that's a great question because the old saying, what gets measured gets done. Not only is creating a budget important, but sticking to it is also equally as important. There are a number of tracking mechanisms that are out there. What we used to do when we were growing up is just write it down on a piece of paper. I think that that's too much, and it leads itself to forgetting things like the money you spend on a vending machine or that $40 bus pass. Some of the free tracking apps that are out there are Mint. Wave is a good one. It just avoids those sort of hassles, keeps everything in one place. More importantly, it allows them to go back and have discussions with you about where they spent the money. Right. Kids need to have some sort of personal inventory.
Personal inventory and personal consequences is the last question. What are the consequences when our child goes over budget?
Just like your mother, my mother always said, actions have consequences. You need to discuss those ahead of time. Set the stage when the emotions are not running high. For example, they might run out of money in a given month. And if that happens, well, if there's 5 days left, where are they going to get the money? As the saying goes, right. Can you say ramen noodles? We just come back to letting them figure it out on their own. They will.
Right. Tom Henske, thank you so much. By the way, don't sleep on the ramen noodle. They are very elevated cuisine on a random Wednesday when you don't have power. It is always really good to see you. Can't wait to see how this all pans out for families across the tri-state area. Thank you so much for your time.
Great. Thank you.